I left you last week, finishing off this wheel here, at the second lot of the spokes I was going to put in. And I double checked on Sheldon Brown, and what I did was correct according to the websites. To get your valve here in the box section, you should start with the trailing or the outside spoke next to the valve hole. You might remember the valve holes or the spoke holes are slightly offset, so it can't be in this one, it had to be in that one. And as you can see from this wheel here, is that when you have this one here, then your valve ends up here, which is not in the box section, that's actually in the double cross. Fortunately, as I was putting the first inside out spokes in, the ones that come from the inside of the hub and come to the outside, these were the ones I put in first. So I could just remove two spokes and move everything 2 holes on to get the valve here in the box section. The other thing which I tried to do was to get the Tigra label here across from the valve hole, and as you can see that's also failed. I should have gone 4 spokes instead of 6 spokes up. Well, whatever. It's been around for a week now. It's turning reasonably true. There's a lot of faffing involved, tightening up from once you finish the lacing, tightening up the spokes. I'm not going to take this apart now because I ran out of tape last week. So what I'll do instead is get you the old bendy rim to replace the front on this bike here. Just swap it over so you can see what I'm doing. And around. Okay, this is a bit lower than the other one normally, because I normally don't work from this side, but it makes it a bit easier to see. So here we go. Let the tire down. The wheels come off. And I spent some time today trying to find out if I could maybe buy a new hub and upgrade the hub in order really to upgrade the spokes. These are straight spokes and not double butted. You can get some nice double butted stainless steel spokes nowadays. The problem is a little bit that in the length that these spokes came, 304, they're not really available. And if you upgrade the hub, you get a slightly different size hub, and so you could get shorter spokes, which are available. Only the size increase in the hub here is not enough really to make an awful lot of difference, because the spokes come out on an angle and not straight. So if your hub is 2 mm or 4 mm bigger, you don't actually gain 2 mm in spoke length, only a tiny bit more. And in the end it was gonna probably be possible. The other problem I encountered was that the old overlock lock nut distance on the old bikes is 95 and on the new bikes 100, so you're looking at 5 millimeters, that the forks will be too close together, which either means bending out the forks or doing another trick with the spacers, which looks like on the Tiger hub you can probably remove the spacers, put some very thin washers in their place and probably get it to fit. But all that and 23 pounds later and all the hassle, I thought I'll just change this rim over. This is the original rim probably, and it's a steel rim, a rusty steel rim. Which hopefully the new old one from the rear will be a bit lighter, hopefully a little bit straighter, and hopefully it will give a slightly bigger brake performance. So there you go again, fire off. And the rim tape. This is a bit older rim tape. I don't want to break it. There we go. Valve hole. So I'm going to turn it clockwise to loosen all the spokes first. Let's say 3 of these. This is going to be pretty boring. So this spoke nipple is nearly gone. Fortunately I have some left over from the other nut, so I'll have to replace the ones that feel a bit dodgy. Like this one. There's a bit of uneven tension on all these things because this rim was also dented. I hammered some bits of it straight. There's some dent on it. It was warped. So to keep everything reasonably straight, you end up having to fiddle the rules a little bit. Now, because these are steel spokes, I could not get the stainless steel ones. It does mean that they tend to rust a little bit at the ends. The nipples here look, some of them look a bit rusty. Oh, this one is already rounded. Okay. And so it's probably more essential to grease these ones up. I don't know what the birds are up to there. Sounds like silence, I think it's scrap. It's fine numbing business. Maybe explain one thing that might be of interest is for the rear wheel. Is about the dishing. So why it is important to dish the wheel and make sure that it's in the center between the two lock nuts. And that is because if you were to do that and you kept it in the middle at the rear, and it means the whole rim would be over to one side, then you can put it in the frame. But if you put it exactly straight, it would foul your rear stays. And so to get it to run, you'd have to put it in slightly askew, which is not really a problem, except for two things. One, which I found out when it was a little bit of black ice on the back road here. It means that because the rear wheel is steering this way, you have to steer with your front wheel the other way, because it's constantly trying to send you around the corner. So you have to give some counter steering action on it. And it does mean that if it's very, very slippery, actually the bike disappears from under you, because you're constantly in a bend. Some people say it also takes a little bit more energy, because you're constantly cornering, really, with one wheel cornering one way and your other wheel cornering the other way to counteract for it. And also, if you take your hands off the handlebar, the thing wants to immediately start cornering. So that's one reason. So the other problem is a little bit that when you do this and you put the wheel in slightly out of straight into your frame, then the brake pads that are sitting on the top, they tend to center. And those ones you can't really uncenter them. So constantly the wheel is going against the one brake pad. The brake pad wears down, you put a lot of effort into it, I can vouch for that. And so it is usually, if the wheel hasn't been dished properly, not centered properly, then you might pay the price from having your brakes constantly on, which is not good if you're trying to show off at high speed.